Welcome back to Game Devs Play Games, where you can watch games, practice game design, and all I'm saying is, what if this entire level you had to catch air bubbles so that you don't drown?
Oh my god, that would be so mean. There we go. There's our little.
It might be more interesting though, huh? That'd probably it'd be painstaking.
No, it would be so painstaking. It would not be.
It worked in games like Sonic, the 2D ones anyway. I thought it actually worked out pretty well in those games because the water had this inherent stress quality that they could build the levels around. But if they used this level design in Kingdom Hearts and then added the air bubble thing on top of it,
that would be so mean. Oh my god.
It speaks pretty clearly, I think, to the level design has to have those things in mind, which totally vindicates something I've been preaching at work.
Yeah, what's that?
There's a lot of things going on because we're in early production on the game at work, and we're trying to. There's a constant struggle with our publishers pushing for content while we're still defining features. So I can't really talk. I'm not allowed to talk about any of that, any details on that stuff, but
know that they're out there and I know about them.
It does create an interesting dialogue of us trying to justify our structure and our plan going forward. And so now that I'm a producer at Phosphor,
woo!
Which is super cool.
Woo!
But I just redefined our entire milestone delivery plan for the next year's worth of dev time, which is an incredibly stressful thing to do as an associate producer who has never done that before.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I incorporated a lot of time for gray boxing levels and iterating the level design, but also putting a huge early focus on getting just design documentation on our features, so that we're not wasting work. And I seeing stuff like this kind of really. Oh, he just shows up.
I did not see where he was. I was like, where is he at?
He's the leopard.
Exactly, he is. He's just like the leopard. I just didn't see him at first, and it wasn't letting me get the clam. I was like, the clam's right here, and it kept showing me that it was an enemy.
Does it close if there's an enemy nearby?
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing that I think a lot of people don't consider when it comes to level design. Especially because there's a lot of level editors out there that you're building levels with all these features already in game.
Yeah,
so you're just kind of building something for fun. But if you're in the process of actually designing a game too from the ground up, this got to have iteration.
I can't imagine it being. Yeah, that's good, man. That's so exciting, dude.
It's definitely exciting. I wish we had more time to work on this game because I feel like it's definitely hitting a AAA quality.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, Phosphor is effectively a AA, if not a AAA studio. We don't have a massive team like some studios do with hundreds of people. We have 15.
Right. So it's not
people. So. It's definitely a tall ask for a small studio, but that's kind of why I wish we had more time for iteration. Based on our budget, it's just kind of we have just enough time to have one iteration of every piece of content, so we have to make sure it's really good.
Really good on that first.
And obviously, there's still going to be iterations and changes for all the content, but it's more of it'll be based off of publisher feedback rather than our own iteration.
I understand.
It's a fine balance. It's a weird project. I'm learning a lot though. I'm really happy that I get this chance at Phosphor to kind of see how AAA studios structure things. Because you and I, we're more used to the indie setting.
Oh yeah.
Even
absolutely.
Nathan and I, we've been making shit for a long time, just on our own development, and it doesn't really. There's no real deadlines. It's all just based on
do it when you can, man.
Can I still feed myself with my day job? Yep. Well, then we have an infinite amount of time to work on this indie game.
Exactly.
So all deadlines are self-imposed, and nothing's really at stake.
Right.
Until I, quit a job, and then I'm like, well, I have enough money to live for 6 months, so let's make this count.
Yeah, right. Let's make all of this work out.
And that has never worked out thus far.
Well,
But that's
Not
okay.
yet.
It's been part of the learning process too. But yeah, no, it's interesting.
Oh, I'm sure, man. Oh, I'm sure it is.
Our publisher's good though. It's not
That's
like working
good.
with EA where EA's gonna like fucking ruin everything because
Yeah, they're gonna show you how and tell you what to do on every little bit of everything. You're like, well, great.
I wish I could say who our publisher is because
It's cool.
it's cool and I like the properties we're working with. But I can't talk about it until the game is actually announced.
Well, do you know how soon it's gonna come, or is it just not? Like, I guess that's probably something else you can't really talk about either.
Yeah, I don't think I could
Yeah, that's
talk
right.
about like release dates or anything like that.
That's
But
the-
I can
regardless,
at
it
least
sounds
say
pretty
like
sweet.
in a year I could probably talk about it. Who knows if I actually will be able to? But probably.
How did I end up like stuck on this end of everything?
Oh,
Anyway, that's
is that
what I
actually
do.
what you're supposed to do?
That's what I needed to do. Yeah,
Oh.
I need to get back over to Ariel's area, and I was just derping hardcore. But I also don't want to avoid any fights because any levels I can gain right now are also kind of important. How are we doing on time?
Oh, we're good. We still have 9-ish minutes.
Oh, okay.
8.5.
Not even halfway through the episode yet. All right, sweet. I do like here's the thing, I don't really mind this water level. I kind of like this level if I'm being totally honest with you. I think the boss fight can get a little annoying. So we'll see if I beat it in one shot.
Combat doesn't seem to be too cumbersome either. I think
No.
the lock system worked
The lock
well with
system
the vertical.
really helps. Like if you don't do a lock system, then yes, it can become very annoying. But
I could see that.
in theory, you should be using the lock system. That's why they have it there.
I'm pretty notoriously bad at using the lock system in any game
Me
other than like
too.
Zelda games.
Me too. I'm really bad at it too. But that's why I don't complain about those things, because they give us that. They give us the tool to do it.
I guess the way a lot of people might think of it is like the lock system is a playstyle preference. And so if you use a playstyle preference that doesn't use the lock system, then it can be really frustrating because the game's forcing you to play a certain way.
Right, yeah.
But I think the counter argument is the game always wanted you to play it that
Yeah, right?
way.
It's like you just chose not to.
Yeah, exactly. Not that different playstyles shouldn't be encouraged. It's more of a matter of like doing more to reinforce that you should play it. in
Right,
a certain playstyle.
like, and I always like lock system because at times, especially when you have a lot of enemies like flying at you, like it makes life a lot easier to be able to lock on the one you really want to kill. Ooh, man, that was a close one.
Yeah, and even like going back to Zelda, like the 3D Zelda games have a great system that encourages using the lock system because it allows you to use a lot more maneuvers than you would have been able to otherwise. And you can still play the game without using the lock system, but there's so much incentive to use it than to not use it.
That's fair.
It's the same thing with Dark Souls too, like the way you maneuver around enemies. And now I'm bad at using the lock system in Dark Souls, but
Right.
good
Look,
players
it fit.
Wow. Can't stop looking at those nips though.
I know those pepperonis he's got going on there. They're just like
Very pale pepperonis. Oh, this is where we kill Zeus.
Triton, you mean?
I mean, yeah. He's
Where
very,
did you find my crystal meth?
I guess he's more like Poseidon,
Yeah.
but
Ooh.
you know, they all kind of are the same thing when it boils down to. I'm gonna make someone mad with that.
No, I know you are. Yeah, someone's gonna be like, "Oh,
Young man, you're not from another ocean. You're from another world.
thanks a lot, Goofy. Gave that away."
Pretty sure there's only one ocean in this world, so great guess.
How did you know?
Cause you brought up the keyhole.
You may fool Ariel, but you can't fool me. You don't know your dorsal fin from your tail.
Well, I only have one fin. So I'm
Like, I don't
guessing
even know what a
this-
dorsal
Yeah.
tail is, so
One
shit.
must not meddle in the affairs of other worlds.
Of course I know that, but
You have violated.
Also, what is this abomination sitting next to you?
Yeah, right.
Half cow, half turtle.
And then you have your half octopus, half duck.
Oh, Sora's not like that.
I thank you for saving my daughter, but
I'm putting you in jail.
there is no room in my ocean for your key.
But it is time for you to die. He gave you his trident?
No.
Oh, is that the Keyblade?
This is the Keyblade.
Under the sea. Isn't this where that scene happens? Oh no, this is where the eels come in.
What a pity. If only there was something we could do. Wait, maybe she can be of some help.
Maybe we can eat some unagi.
Wait, they're eating us. Wait.
Let's be real. Eels know that they're delicious. I'm sure they cannibalize each other
Dude,
a lot.
I want some sushi so bad. I haven't had sushi in so long.
Dude, let's get some sushi.
I just want to get some sushi.
We can get some sushi. I'm pretty sure Ursula couldn't do that in the movie.
Well, Ursula's got the power of the Heartless now.
Oh, that's true. That's a fair point, actually.
Let me guess. You wish to see other worlds. That shouldn't be too hard. After all, your new friends came from another world.
Ursula, no, you're not supposed to tell him
They
that.
had special help. That mysterious key. Now, cheer up, sweetie.
I guess Ursula only has 6 tentacles too, doesn't she?
Too. Now listen carefully.
Now listen very carefully, for my plot is important. Flounder, what do you gotta tell me?
There really is something unsettling about looking up Donald's tentacles.
Where's Ariel going? I want to go look for her, but I'm just sort of scared. How much time we got?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, enough time for me to get back to the kingdom, because I haven't saved yet.
Oh, you should do that.
That should be unbreakable. Thank you.
Oh, too bad there was nothing in it.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to break it.
I understand, buddy. So I guess you can break Ariel's stuff.
Well, just some of it.
After all.
Just some of it. Not as much as you want.
I'm still hoping, though, that Hank Hill will be in Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's all we can. Well, there is a rumor that outside of just being like a Toy Story world, there may be like a Pixar kind of world in general. Like,
oh, that would be interesting.
Would be interesting. I don't like.
Is the Toy Story world, was that announced for 3?
Yes, that's been announced for 3. They've showed some play of it. That's kind of the big one they're really talking about right now.
So that's not something that existed in 2, then?
No. There hasn't been any kind of Pixar-y anything.
What an interesting choice. I guess, like, they're mostly sticking to their 2D properties. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of underutilized to not use some of the newer Pixar properties or Disney properties.
Well, and they're definitely doing. Oh, that's not Pixar. That's Disney animated. They're definitely doing San Francisco from Big Hero 6.
Really?
San Francisco.
Yes.
That was one of the first worlds confirmed as a new one.
I'm into that. I'm really into that.
Dude, I loved Big Hero 6. Like, I know it's a big departure off of its original source material.
Oh, really?
A little bit. Like, not huge, but just big enough. But I loved that movie.
I mean, so was 300, but
right.
You still can love it.
One of the shows that I think, again, I know we talked about this a little bit last week, not during any of the episodes, but just while we were hanging out, Runaways on Hulu. I think that, in my opinion, so I tried reading the comic, and I prefer their methods of how the kids all knew each other better in the show.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
It seems a lot like more understandable and a lot more relatable.
I really liked the graphic novel, but I also read it as a teenager, so maybe at the time it resonated with me more.
I've been all about it, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but a couple of my buddies have been super, super into Runaways. And like, the thing is by creators I didn't think I would really like a show from. It's by people who made like Gossip Girl and something else. But maybe their style just really lent itself well to this show.
Yeah, I mean...
And like in the comic, I feel like the adults were never relatable. I feel like they were just kind of, at least at the beginning, they seemed very pure evil-y. Where in this show, they actually like give the adults like almost a reason, like you'd do this too if you were in our situation kind of thing.
I think that was the point though in the graphic novel, and maybe they were kind of relying more on like a mixture of comic tropes with the addition of like switching things up with the new hero tropes.
That's fair, and that's true. I think that is a big part of it. But I just think it works so much better when like you can kind of relate to the villain.
I agree. I think that generally tells a more compelling story. My initial impressions off of at least the first like volume of Runaways was that it wasn't really about the villains. It never really mattered.
No, right. It was about the kids.
Yeah, and about like them kind of becoming the departure from what like the traditional hero is, and let alone what their parents' expectations were for them.
Right. And they still definitely hold to that, but they also make some of the nice plot points or when the kids are like, man, I really like my parents though. And like, I thought one day I could be something like them, but now I really don't want to be.
Yeah.
And that's made for some great storytelling, like really, really great. I've been all about it. So if you guys else have watched Runaways, let me know what you guys think, because I want to see if I'm just kind of crazy. Or if it is actually good.
Where can you watch it?
A Hulu.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a Hulu original. So now again, this is where my fears all come into play that Disney's buying out Hulu. It's like they already have a show on there, and the fact that they want to do their own streaming service, all this just doesn't add up right. I feel like they're just going to totally cannibalize Hulu if they.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I mean, either that or they're going to kind of turn Hulu into their core streaming.
Right. Which that might be okay then. Now, the thing I'm really excited about, though, you're talking about Hank Hill being in Kingdom Hearts, but what about Bob's Burgers being in Kingdom Hearts? Like, I'd be all about having Gene or Luis or Tina.
You like do a Bob's Burgers episode kind of like challenge. I kind of would be into that.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Oh, I shouldn't have gone.
I think it would break. Yeah, well, now when it's too late. I think it would definitely break theme pretty tremendous.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Going with Toy Story already sort of feels like it's breaking theme, but not enough to like to be any true controversy.
Right.
But like Bob's Burgers, that would be like this.
Or Simpsons, or like any of those would be like
this world has just turned into absolute chaos.
Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
But you know, maybe that'll be like the spin-off series of Kingdom Hearts.
All right.
Well, they'll make another card game.
Oh my god.
But just go through Fox franchises.
Jesus, no, please not our card game. I don't think I could do it.
Daddy.
The trident. We must get it back.
Come on, let's go. Wait. I'm going with you. My father is hurt and it's all my fault.
Yeah, we know.
I have to stop Ursula.
Yeah, we know that too.
That's right. I'm right behind you, Ariel.
But only close enough.
Too bad you can't do much. Should we call it here?
Oh, we'll call it here. Yeah, let's call it here. So,
Cool.
question of the day.
Question of the day. We could talk about the reuse of the like villain, enemy, boss, semi-boss guy that
let's
pops
talk
up.
about that. We should talk about that.
So obviously they reused that mechanic from the Jungle World with the leopard that kept popping up. They used that again with the shark. And so I guess as a two-parter question, how did they switch things up using that same mechanic, but also how does reusing that actually benefit the game?
Perfect. I love it. If you guys enjoyed that episode, please hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
See you guys later.